Alright, everyone, welcome back. I am your host, the Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. Today, we got another manga spotlight for you guys today. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Quintessential Quintuplets. Man, what a mouthful. I still, trying to pronunciate this title is ridiculous. Oh boy. So we got Kodansha Comics, older teens for ages 16 plus, and we got a MSRP of $10.99. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see what we got on the back here. So five girls who want to do anything but study, and their tutor, a high school boy who's got book smarts and not much else. Futaru Yusugi took the tutoring gig because he was desperate for cash. But when his students, the five beautiful daughters of a wealthy businessman, find five times the excuses to slack off, what can he do? At this rate, the sisters won't graduate. So if he wants to get paid, Futaro must think of a plan to suit each of them, which feels hopeless when 5 out of 5 of them think he's a loser. Where do I even start with this manga? Oh my goodness. So before we dive into it, again, guys, I want to talk about spoilers. You guys know the drill. So if you don't want to get spoiled, feel free to watch this video at a later time. So I guess we're just gonna dive right into it because this is definitely one of those one of a kind, out of this world type of stories. So we follow our main protagonist, Futaru, and basically, he's the typical Japanese male trope that, he's book smarts and everything, but he's not really a very nice guy, so to speak. Um, One day when he tries to like sit down, he introduced to this other character. It's Suki, and let's just be frank. Futaru was definitely rude to Itsu, Itsuki. Oh my goodness, I can't even pronounce this character's name. Itsuki. We'll just go with that. Which is basically her. That's Itsuki. And you know, Futaro, let's just say that he's not one to really charm the ladies. So they kind of sit down during a lunch, and he's really judging all of the like high expensive food items that Itsuki got and everything, and he just wants to eat in peace. And this particular girl, Itsuki, was able to grab one of his papers from school and realized that he's smart. He got 100 on his test, and Itsuki basically asked him, "Hey, I want you to be my tutor," and he basically just walks away and says no and so forth. And um, he makes a kind of a rude comment saying that, "Hey, if you're gonna eat all that food, you're gonna get fat," which definitely pissed off Itsuki. And then Futaro basically says, "Man, I'm glad I'm not gonna interact with this girl again." And karma came back to bite him. And so, come to find out, Itsuki recently transferred to the school, and come to find out, she is part of a wealthy businessman. Their father is really rich, nice apartments, and a recent transfer. And then Futaro realizes, oh crap, I think I definitely messed up here. And then karma really comes back to bite him when he finds out that Futaro was able to get a part time job that his father kind of set up. And you guys can probably guess what type of job it is. And so it is basically tutoring the businessman's five daughters. And so, kind of a little bit of meta explanation there, but Futaro then basically goes to the apartments, and we sort of got introduced to the other characters because all four of them also got transferred to the school. And let me back up a little bit. So before he goes to the apartment, kind of the next day of school, he's trying to find Itsuki, and then kind of runs into her siblings because they kind of look all the same. They dress a little bit differently and definitely have their own personality traits, but their face pretty much the same. And so when he goes to the apartment, he realizes that yeah, he's going to be the tutor of all five of them. Hence the title Quintuplets. And all five of these are definitely lazy, stereotypical girly girls. They don't want to study, they want to do their own things. And, Itsuki, or excuse me, Futaru basically won't get paid he won't get paid unless they pass their exams for school. And so that is the mountain our main protagonist has to climb. Yeah. You guys can pretty much guess where the rest of the story's going to go. And so we get introduced to the quintuplets, Ichika, Ninu, Miku, Itsuki, and Yoroshuba. Again, sorry, I am not the greatest when trying to pronounce these Japanese names. I will try my best, but anyways, those are our five quintuplets, and it's pretty clear that each one of them has their own personality traits and so forth, and they're definitely spoiled and everything under the sun when it comes to that. And so it is our job for our main protagonist, Futaru, to figure out how in the world he's going to be able to get these quintuplets to be able to pass school, essentially. And so the rest of the volume goes into how he's going to try to do that. He does kind of like a pre-test to figure out where the skills are for these five siblings, and quickly realizes that they all failed the test. Yeah. And so now it's up to him to figure out how in the world he's going to be able to tutor these individuals. And so he starts he's thinking maybe he can work with them one at a time to see if he could potentially, get at least one of them to pass and so forth. So we follow Miku, and we soon discover that Miku is definitely a huge history buff. And so he tries to also research and make sure he's a history buff as well, so that way they can at least talk to each other. As we go through the volume, it kind of works in a way. Sometimes it backfires, but sometimes it works. And then our Futaru realizes that when he looks at the particular questions that each of the siblings got correct versus got wrong, there was a trend that at least one of them knew the certain type of question. So then he starts to realize that, oh, you know what? The only way you five are going to pass is if all of you, study together, because each one of you has a piece to the knowledge that the other person don't. And so he tries to work with that. However, we meet with another quintuplet, Ninu, and we come to find out that she's very devious. She doesn't want to study, and she's very just, again, there's no other words to describe it, very devious and manipulative. Yeah, I'm not even try to say that again. But anyways, she tries everything to try to sabotage the tutoring and everything. And as we go through the volume, you can see it doesn't quite work out. So yeah, and that's where I'll end the volume there. So this particular story, I don't know, it's not my typical flavor. I'll give this again the 3-volume manga rule, but let me just say that it's a story about a guy tutoring 5 daughters that need to pass. It's definitely it tries to be a comedy in a way, but it gets kind of confusing. So when I was reading through the story, I felt very saturated with the characters because, again, there's 5 of them to keep track. And you got to keep track of all 5 different personalities to figure out, okay, is this the one that doesn't want to hang out with Futaru? Is this the devious one? Is this the one that knows about the history? I got very saturated very quickly, just trying to keep track of which of the quintuplets is who. And it was very upfront and it loaded very quickly to the reader. And I think that's one of my biggest problems with it is that when I get presented with so many characters so quickly, it tends, like I said, it becomes overwhelming, and it, I struggled through it a little bit because if these characters don't remind me of who they are in their names, you can get lost pretty quickly. And unfortunately, this book definitely needed the general character overviews, like some of the other manga has. That you have a picture and a name and a description of each important character, and this manga doesn't have it, and I really wish it did, because then I can keep track of, okay, this is this sister, this is this sister, and so forth. But again, I had a lot of good laughs out of it. It is definitely a comedy driven story. But again, I feel like I just get lost with trying to keep track of each individual character. And there's some touching moments in it. One thing I forgot to mention is that Isoki, Futaro kind of likes Itsuki again, but it gets kind of, that little character arc gets kind of muddled with the other five characters. Again, they're just dominating the kind of second half of this volume. And the way our Futaro tries to strategize going from one sister or one of the quintuplets to all five, that one, I think that got rushed way too quickly. I wish we could have focused on one quintuplet at a time. And then after he's like tried to study with them individually, then he starts to realize that, oh, we can't do this individually because all five of them have their own unique traits. And so I wish we could have seen all five traits first before he made to that conclusion. I felt like it was rushed and presented way too quickly in volume one. But yeah, other than that, let's just say I'm not in a rush to get volume two. It's going to be one of those that, should I get volume two of this, or should I try going into volume one of another story to explore a new world? I'm going to lean on that more heavily. So, but if you're into this style of storytelling where, a protagonist has a huge mountain to climb, I guess is the best way I can describe it, then I could potentially recommend this manga for you. But for me, it's going to be one that I want to take my time with. Like I said, I'll give it a 3-volume rule, and if it's the same old chemistry and writing that I think it's going to go down for the next two, then this will probably be one that I jump. But we'll see. But again, that's the quite essential quintuplets about a boy that's trying to tutor 5 daughters. Yeah, businessman daughters in order to survive. So yeah, it is what it is. So, but there, guys, if you have any manga that you want me to read, feel free to leave a comment down below. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you like what I do here, feel free to look at all the links down below to support my work. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.